Welcome back to Ferox Frank Reviews here on the Ferox channel on YouTube. Folks, the Olympics are now upon us. And yes, I'm wearing my bands again because I lost my gloves. Thanks to a certain guy who does a bunch of asshole videos. So, yeah. But we're gonna need his help later. Anyways, the modern day Olympics were brought back in 1896. Bit of an interesting history lesson. As due to the fact, but a certain general suggested that they should actually make an entire meaningful event to showcase the soldiers' skills. And the events were all done as followed: swimming, fencing, shooting, horseback riding, also known as equestrian, and cross country running. Yeah, all this would actually show would actually show the best soldier for each country. The event will actually take part in 5 days. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Each day they will actually have to participate in a different event. So the event became one of the cornerstones of the modern day Olympics, and it's called the Pentathlon, where athletes from the pentathlon or pentathletes would actually be the highest ranking athletes in the Olympics, and will be so to this very day. And at some point during the Rio Games, they wanted to try to get rid of it, and instead they decided, no, let's get rid of wrestling. Yeah, that didn't work. They kept the wrestling. But either way, the pentathlon. Anyway, they still kept the pentathlon because it's one of the cornerstones of the modern day Olympics, and today's movie is centered around that. So today's movie stars Dolph Lundgren, and it's called Pentathlon. Pentathlon is actually a early 90s film that, well, stars, of course, Dolph Lundgren. Now, before you get the idea of getting the Blu-ray edition, keep this in mind, the version I have is a Region 3 Blu-ray, which means you have to have an all-regions Blu-ray player in order for it to work. I found this out the hard way when I actually bought this thing, so, yeah. Unless you have a Region 3 Blu-ray player, for this particular one, it's going to be kind of a pain, but there's no need to worry. You could see it online. I found it on YouTube relatively easily, so I could just watch it on YouTube. Just type in Pentathlon film 1994 and you'll find it. So, the movie basically, like I said, stars Dolph Lundgren as Eric Broger, a athlete from East Germany who is a pentathlete. And is trying to be the best athlete as he can be, trying to prove that he is actually a great person. Also, due to the fact that this movie is, how do I put this? Is it an action movie? Is it a sports drama? Or is it a feel-good movie? It's kind of a bit of a it's a mixed reaction type movie. Well, best thing I can describe it is that that is a sports film that's also a somewhat feel-good, but also a comeback style film as well. As a comeback style film as well. That also has neo-Nazis in it. Yeah. I mean, what do you expect? It's an early 90s movie. The movie was made in 1994, but yeah, neo-Nazis as the main villains in the movie. Why is that surprising to me? It's not. Why? Because there was a lot of racism villains back in the 90s and also in the 80s too. By the 2000s, they sort of died. They sort of like died out because of because of 9/11 mostly. But oh, there's an entire video I could probably do on the whole neo-Nazi villain scandal, but that's a story for another day. From now on, we're just going to focus on pentathlon. So, The movie basically starts off in the 1970s in East Germany, where we see an entire youth group of young athletes, like young children athletes, one of which is actually our main star, Eric Broger. So they actually compete in a cross country running, and of course Eric trips and falls, and the main villain of the movie, who's actually the trainer, and later on becomes the neo-Nazi leader of the organization, named Mueller. Believe me, you're gonna really hate this guy eventually because this guy is just absurd beyond belief. What does he do? He walks up to Eric and slaps him for saying that he had failed. So basically, he just berates Eric, and because of that, his partner Christian also failed too. Now, I would say that Christian would hate him, but no, they actually become really good friends as time goes on. And of course, the race was more in favor of another young athlete named Reinhardt. Trust me, and this will later start the whole sport rivalry between Reinhardt and Roger, which is beyond ridiculous. But anyway, after being berated by Mueller, Eric goes to his father, but his father basically comforts him, tells him he's proud of him because it's not just falling. It wasn't just falling; it's the will to get back up and keep trying. That's why I'm so proud of you, Eric. But Mulder scolds him some more. So yeah, cut all the way through the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, South Korea. And ironically, this is around the time when Taekwondo was introduced into the Olympics. So, which is not that surprising. I mean, yeah, because it was Korea, and then it became a full part of the Olympics since 2000, and still is part of the Olympics to this very day. But anyways, what? Drop the friggin' Blu-ray. Anyway, we anyway, Eric is now going to compete in is now an adult by played by Ivan Drago himself, Dolph Lundgren. Now, he basically competes in the pentathlon, and he has 5 days to go through all five events. So the first event he goes through is, of course, swimming, and and of course he wins the swimming competition. The second event is actually fencing, and the fencing leads him to fight his nemesis Reinhardt, and he probably beats Reinhardt. And I should also mention, each time he actually wins, he's a sportsman, like a legit sportsman. He actually congratulates his opponent. And even after he wins, or if he loses, he congratulates the opponent like a true sportsman. It's like, yeah, I beat you, but still, great job. Yes. Hey, come on, people, give it up for him. He did a good job too. Come on. And yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, that's the type of person you want to root for. So yeah, even though he's part of the East German Republic, or the Democrat or the East German Democratic, but he's an East German, whatever. But either way, he actually tries to congratulate Reinhardt. Reinhardt blows him off. It's like, come on, man. Next day is shooting. Bullseye. Like, literally dead center bullseye. Not even joking. And keep this in mind, when they do the shooting competitions for the Olympics, they're using pistols, and they're using 22s. And from the distance he was shooting, bullseye, I gotta admit, that's really impressive. I mean, when it comes down to shooting in the Olympics, there's a lot of practice. Not just pistol range, there's also rifle range stuff too, and they use different calibers. But still, uh, but still, he got dead center. And then, of course, he does horseback riding. The very next day, a success. The next day, he's going to be doing cross country. Where, of course, Mueller says they'll do good for the country, and he says, "I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for myself." So, okay, I can't do the German accent thing because they're going to make it sound like I'm a wannabe Arnold Schwarzenegger here. But eventually, Eric decides to go check out the American team. Actually, gets to be friendly with them. Be more sportsman. Actually, cheers them on. But Mueller doesn't actually like the fact that he's actually hanging out with the Americans, and the people that are actually with Eric and the other athletes, the East German athletes, are all special police. So this is actually a real thing that actually happened during that time, and they're no longer around. Mostly because of a bunch of controversial problems. Mainly because some of them were actually neo-Nazis in disguise, and they actually were very abusive. That's one of the reasons why they were disbanded. Hmm. Anyway, one of the American athletes tells Mueller to calm down, and Mueller basically curses the guy out to not talk to me like that because I am a white man. And this basically because the way he says it, like I am a white man, so you should treat me with respect. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. You call yourself a white man, and he should treat you with respect because he's black. Yeah. Yeah, come here a second. Would you like to be introduced to my good friend here, Mr. Louisville Slugger? No, what about his cousin over here wrapped in barbed wire? If not, I got his girlfriend here, which happens to be a 12-gauge shotgun. Click, click. Yeah, I'm just letting you guys know I really hate racists in movies. I mean, seriously. I guess when it comes down to it, I'm a racist towards racists. So yeah, that's me. Okay. Uh, Maybe it's because of the fact I grew up colorblind, all right? Because I treated everybody equally while growing up. So yeah, I grew up colorblind. Whether if a person was black, white, tan, Hispanic, or Israeli, Middle Eastern, whatever, I treated them all equal. Why? Because I was taught better. Yeah, not the way Mueller says it. But seriously, it's like if he dropped if he dropped the N word, that wouldn't be surprising to me at all whatsoever. Honestly. Anyway, Christian actually diffuse. Anyway, Eric and Christian try to defuse the situation. As they leave, Christian tells all the athletes that those guys are secret police, basically the same time that these guys are from different worlds and shit. Although the black athlete actually decides to give Christian an American jersey, an American tracksuit for Eric because Eric was asking for it earlier. And of course, Eric actually does put on the tracksuit, and he goes meets Julia, the love interest, his love interest in the movie, and she kind of blows him off at some point. But yeah, you can clearly see there's a bit of a slight connection, but she sees that he's actually a really great athlete. And he's not trying to hit on her or anything, but she can tell that he's going to get into a lot of trouble if he continues doing this whole sneaking around shit. The following day is now cross country running. And to make sure they win, they actually juice up Reinhardt with steroids or whatever the hell it is to make sure he actually wins. Eric actually refuses to take it, but they tell him to take it. He refuses. He gets into a fight. He basically curses them out, saying he's going to win it his own way, not cheating. Which, of course, which is a real far cry from Dolph Lundgren's character of Ivan Drago, who actually took steroids in order to get himself stronger. And here's a bit of a fun fact: originally in Rocky Balboa, we were supposed to actually have a scene where Dolph Lundgren's character was actually supposed to come back, and Ivan Drago, and he was supposed to be dying of cancer because of the steroid use. But that whole scene was actually removed from the movie because they thought it was like kind of disrespectful for some reason. Plus, Dolph Lundgren was really busy at the time with some other films, so he couldn't be bothered to do it though because of the fact he is Ivan Drago. So yeah. Anyway, the big race is on. And yes, Reinhardt is in the lead. He's in the lead. And then. Ah! I'm guessing he had a heart attack. Or he had some heart complications. You know what? One of the side effects of steroids is heart complications. Yeah. So, and not to mention, steroids actually numb out your body for a limited amount of time. And my guess is that his heart couldn't take it anymore and he had to give out. So, but this gives Eric the lead, and thus he takes the lead and he wins. He becomes the gold medal pentathlete. Awesome. Yeah. There's a slight problem though. Once Eric wins, he decides it's time for him to defect. So eventually, he actually winds up going into the bathroom. Actually, switches out his uniform for an American uniform. Christian actually comes in to help him out, but the secret police and his other athlete and his other compatriots actually see there's definitely a problem. A fight breaks out, and Eric and Christian run while the American athletes actually get on their bus to get ready to leave. And during the ensuing chase, Christian gets shot and killed by one of the guards. but he was holding on to the guard as he was running to make sure he gives Eric some time to run. Eric actually does want actually winds up leaving through jumping through a window, but he got shot in the process by one of the other security guys who's also an athlete. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Yeah, they're trying to stop Eric from actually defecting. His main security guy goes right after him. But of course, Eric does make it to the bus. He's running and limping at the same time, but he makes it to the American bus and actually gets on the plane. Julie actually makes sure they stop the bus so he can get on. And Moeller is actually trying to run through security, trying to stop Eric, but he gets arrested and detained. He's basically yelling he's defecting. It's like, that's not our problem. Dude, we work with the Americans, not you, okay? He's going to America, fuck you. And basically, yeah, Eric finally leaves, and he's now on a plane leaving to the United States. And you hear Moeller go, why? What did I do to you, Eric? What did you do to him? Where the fuck do I begin, asshole? Seriously. You're an abusive son of a bitch. You're a racist jerk off, and you think you know everything, but you actually don't. And you're clingy as all fuck. And you know what? Here, I'm just gonna take this gun here and just put you all your misery. Bang! There, I just saved everybody a movie. I wish that would happen. I wish. No, we cut to 2 months later back in East Germany, where Moeller actually finds Eric's father, and out of frustration, kills him by stomping on him. It turns out when Eric actually defected to the U.S., Moeller actually lost his job, and most of his people lost it. Most of the people he was working with lost their job because of Eric's defection. Gee, I wonder why. Huh, 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 huh. So yeah, out of frustration, he kills Eric's father, holds up a picture of him and says, "He is mine. I made him. He belongs to me." Where the fuck is the Predator when you need him? I mean, seriously, I would love to see the Predator come in out of nowhere, stab this guy, and actually skin him alive right there on the spot. Seriously, I really don't like this motherfucker. But things get worse for Eric because the following year, in 1989, there's actually news that they're actually tearing down pieces of the wall, where basically the Republicans actually where the East Side and the West Side are actually reconciling and everything, and the government is basically falling at that point. And Eric is just beyond pissed off because he now realizes that his defection was worthless. So yeah, that pretty much sucks. He gets to a fight with Julia. She actually winds up leaving. Eric actually gets really pissed off at the bar and actually throws a mug of beer at the TV. A guy starts to fight with him, but Eric immediately puts him down. Dude, he's a gold medalist pentathlete. What the fuck did you expect was going to happen? Cut to a few years later, it's now 1994, and Eric is now flipping burgers. His boss is giving him a hard time, saying he's always late, and he's drinking a lot of beer. And here's the thing, too. Dolph Lundgren is actually really well toned in this movie, and you wouldn't. And seriously, he's going through a six-pack like he's going through water. I mean, seriously. Like, if they wanted to actually be a little bit more realistic, they would have gave him a bit of a gut. But no, he has he has a six-pack. Like, I'm talking about like ab-wise, not the cans. Like, he's going through the six-pack cans like crazy, and yet he's got a full-blown six-pack, almost an eight-pack. Talk about realism. Anyway, Eric decides to take his boss's advice, but as he walks home, he gets assaulted, and he actually wants to try to go after a bunch of guys who actually assaulted him, and the pain of his leg starts to come back. He basically wobbles home, and he looks at his medal, and he looks at his photo when he was in the Olympics, and he decides it's time for him to go back to training to become the pentathlete he once was. So the next morning, he gets dressed and he goes out into a track and field and try to actually do some running. Of course, he's late for work, so his boss goes all the way to his house to go to pick him up. But the door was open. It's like, what the hell? Eric, what's this? Gold medal pentathlon? What? It's just a picture of him in the pentathlon in Seoul, 1988. Holy shit! Got me a pentathlete. Wait, why wasn't he in the 1992 Olympics? So, well, gee, maybe it had something to do with the fact that the Cold War basically ended at this point in time, and he was drunk off his ass. Well, that could have been the main reason why. So yeah, he goes to pick up Eric from the track and field, and Eric's shoes are all screwed up from not being because they're all worn out. So I was like, "Come on, I told you not to be late." Okay, look, if you're gonna start running again, we might as well get you some new shoes. So yeah, they drive off to his boss's name is Reese, by the way, and he decides he actually wants to help sponsor Eric to actually make him an athlete again. But, to actually get his to get his business off the ground. But he sees that there's a lot of potential within Eric. So yeah, he wants to actually make sure Eric gets back into shape as a pentathlete. So he gets into hard. So he actually assists Eric with the hard training. Meanwhile, back in Germany, what is Moeller doing? He's a neo-Nazi leader. I I got nothing else to say about that. He's just riling a bunch of people, starting a whole thing of hate, and it's just a racist bastard. Until the police come in and raid the place, and he wants him escaping. He's a son of a bitch, and I got nothing else to say to him. Although he does make it to America eventually. As the training continues on, Eric actually finds out that Mueller actually had escaped at one point. So he gets relatively pissed off. Thanks to Reese's training, his running has actually gotten better, which is actually the main core of his what is this athleticism, this is running. And they decided to train in fencing. Yeah, Reese is not really good at fencing. Reese is not really good at fencing at all. So he decides, okay, now I'm going to kick your ass. And now on God, he's basically doing this on God position thing. And what's Eric doing? He's like this: I am on God. And he starts throwing attacks, but Eric's like, ding, 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 ding. I told you I'm on God. Son of a bitch. Yeah, here's the thing. People who are actually had trained like that for Erica's got like what, maybe 20 years of training underneath his belt of all that stuff. We're talking about track and field, swimming, equestrian, shooting, and fencing. And he's also done boxing and some slight kickboxing on the side to stay in shape. So yeah, all that training does not go away. It's all embedded into his mind and body. All he has to do is slight training, and there you go. There you go. Nothing more to it. So, so yeah, he actually winds up trying out for the Olympic. So he goes to So he and Reese go to one of the Olympic tryouts. This time it's with fencing, and ironically enough, guess who's there? It's actually Julie and the U.S. team. So Eric is going to try out for the because he hasn't done this in like what, almost 8 years or so. But he still is. But he still got it. So he actually. So he goes up against this new athlete, the American trying for the American team, and he easily defeats him. Yeah, of course, he and Julie do reconcile, and so Julia's father also reconciles with him too, because supposedly there's actually some deleted scenes of this movie that Eric and the U.S. team actually got along really well, and of course, her father is actually one of the top coaches in the U.S. country for the pentathlon. So I guess there's that. So meanwhile, Mueller actually reunites with Reinhardt, who now works at a hotel, who actually works at a hotel for the German embassy. Okay, fine, whatever. And they're trying to actually, spread the word of hate of the neo-Nazism. Yeah, it's a complete massive big subplot of the whole movie that becomes one of the main plots of the whole fucking movie. Tends to overshadow the main plot point, which is Eric trying to get back into the pentathlon. It's kind of fucking stupid at the time, but then again, it's the early 90s. Neo Nazis were kind of like the big major villains back then. Why? It's the 90s. That's all I can say. That was like a huge thing back then. Eventually, he does win over the other party members, but he also sees Eric inside of a newspaper, and he gets really angry, and he asks Reinhardt if he had seen Eric. And it turns out he actually had seen Eric one time when the place opened, and he caused a fight. So yeah, after that, Eric actually hasn't been seen since. So guess what? Mueller wants to get Eric back. Why? Because he wants to use Eric to spread the hate. Yeah, good luck with that, jerk off. Such a fucking headache with that shit. Ugh. So Eric and Julie meet up at the beach the next day and actually want to go running and do some jogging training, to actually help him with the cross country. And of course, wouldn't you happen to know it, Mueller happens to be there with with one of his guys. One of his guys actually is about to shoot Eric, who's actually and he's riding a bicycle and holding a gun up at Eric until Eric actually trips the bike up and he goes after the guy. Yeah. Eventually, he sees Mueller. He actually grabs Mueller. He says, "Hello, Eric," and he tries to go after him. And Eric puts two and two together that obviously Reinhardt might have something to do with it. So he goes after So he goes to where Reinhardt is. And of course, Reinhardt tells him that he doesn't know he hasn't seen Mueller in years. He knows he's lying, so he beats the living crap out of him. You know what? Considering the fact that what Mueller did to Eric over the years, it's even supposed to be more scenes of more abuse that Mueller actually had abused Eric. That's sexually, right, so don't get that through your thick head. And so he beat the crap out of him and actually just abused him, trying to make him a better athlete. This is one of the reasons why Eric actually left, why he defected in the first place. So yeah, he doesn't believe Reinhardt beats the shit out of him. One of the other guys show up and it's like, "You fucking connector," and Eric probably puts them down. Yeah, there's no contest. These guys are like somewhat jacked up. They're like ex athletes, and yeah, and Eric is still well toned athlete, so he easily beats the shit out of all of them. Reinhardt, on the other hand, was obviously his opponent for so long, but as his rival, he actually hasn't been training lately. Until after that, supposedly there's another deleted scene where Reinhardt goes back into training right after this encounter. Anyway, Mueller actually sent somebody to actually go to Eric's place and actually take care of Eric, but of course he's not there anymore because now he's living with Julie and her father up in the countryside to get some more high altitude training because they're in a mountainous region. And to be fair, for cardio athletes, high altitude training is really helpful. I'm not going to lie about that. Yeah, the air center, which makes you actually want to pump harder. Yeah, it's true. And so the romance between Julia and Eric actually blossom again. That's sweet. But what's Mueller and his guys doing? Oh, I want to fucking kill this guy. So yeah, they actually go to Reese's place, actually try and tap his phone. But one of the guys does something I cannot believe actually happened. I can't believe they actually filmed this. But he goes right up to Reese, orders a burger, turns on the radio, and actually starts breakdancing to hip hop. Like, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, buddy, you got potential. In fact, I want you to go down to this street. I want you to head down that street all the way down to South Central LA. And there's a group called NWA. I want you to do that right in front of them. Do that and see what happens. Yeah. You'll get the NWA approval. Yeah. And if you guys know NWA, what's their approval rate? Tell me you would like to see that. So eventually, Reese actually does wind up calling Eric, and they get his location where he is. Oh, fuck. The next day, Eric and Julie actually go out for a bit more running and tomfoolery, loving tomfoolery, until Mueller finds the father, and his guys actually beat the crap out of the guy, but they don't kill him particularly. Reese actually wants him going up there with a horse, but one of the guys the guy who was doing the breakdancing, the guy who did this, shoots him. But don't worry, Reese is not dead. Yeah, I thought he actually died in the at first until I saw the ending of the movie again and actually got a closer look at the end. Yeah, he actually survives. Yeah. So Julie and Eric hear the gunshot. Eric tells Julie to go find her father and call the police. She does find her father, but she doesn't call the police because he's badly beaten. So she gets him out of there. Eric finds Reese, and Reese tells him, "Kick the motherfucker's asses." And so he actually winds up going to the house and about to call the cops. But guess who shows up? Reinhardt shows up, grabs a sword, and fights and decides to duel Eric one last time because Eric is always in his way of progress. So yeah, he decides to fight Eric once and for all. They have one more final sword fight, and Eric probably beats him. And then Mola shoots Reinhardt, killing him. I, I that was a dick move. Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And so they beat up Eric a bit more. So they beat up Eric, and he actually puts Eric up against a tree. And Mueller decides not to shoots him, but he misses, saying that he belongs to him. And this part, I don't understand how the hell they actually did this, because here's the thing: Mueller actually has a P-38 pistol, which is okay. Obviously, it's an auto pistol, obviously. And if you know anything about like a World War II games, you've seen that pistol around plenty of times. Or play Call of Duty. It's one of the guns you usually get when you're fighting off against Germans and shit. It's one of their weapons. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Every time you fire the pistol, the the spring actually causes the mechanism to actually release the bullet and actually load another bullet in the chamber. All right. So he actually pulls up to Eric and actually pulls the trigger. And all you hear is click. You actually see the hammer go up like here. I got my little my revolver here. You see the thing do this, okay? But here's the thing: it's an auto pistol. So that means it actually it cocks itself back, which it did beforehand. But what? And guess what happens afterwards? He pulls the gun back further and goes bang bang, and bullets fall out of it. How the fuck did that happen? What was it like half cocked or something? It makes no sense in my opinion. I mean, it wouldn't bother me so much. But then again, I grew up. Then again, my dad was part of the National Rifleman Association, so I know a thing or two about guns. It's just that little detail kind of bothers me. I mean, what? So yeah, either way, they actually capture Eric and they bring him along with them. Now, one of the guys they actually got the okay approval to actually use their terrorist organization. Yeah, they're actually going to do a terrorist act during a peace rally. And this one of their sponsors actually finds out what they're really planning to do, and he sees there's a rocket launcher in the van next to Eric. And so, what does Mola do? Lock them all up. So Eric basically tells him that he needs to stop. So, of course, Mueller doesn't listen. So, what does he do? Let's go. Yeah, he just shaved. Go figure. This is not going to end well. They get to a German peace rally to actually explain, well, what actually happened and everything, and trying to stop the whole neo-Nazism. But unfortunately, yeah, Mueller and his gang are actually going to try to kill everybody and kill off the peace rally. So yeah, well, the big guy who actually killed Christian earlier actually walks around with a rocket launcher. Security is aware these guys are not supposed to be there. And Mueller actually goes to the broadcast, goes down to the broadcast section, goes down to the broadcast truck, and actually shows a video of hate amongst all things. And he tells the big guy, "Get ready to fire the rocket launcher at them." And Eric, well, he actually escapes, actually jumps out of the van, actually kills one of the guys, grabs his gun. The other guy that actually kept him captive, he shoots and kills him easily. He's a good distance away from the guy with the rocket launcher. The guy's about to fire the rocket launcher, and I don't know if this is true, or this is even possible. I think maybe this is something Mythbusters should have done, but here's the thing: Eric's gun is actually a 9mm. and it's got a silencer on it. So he points the gun at the rocket launcher and he shoots it. He shoots, and the guy blows up. Yeah, the guy with the rocket launcher blows up. Not even joking. Shoots and kills him. You're wondering, how the fuck did he do that? People, he's a sharpshooter. All right, if he can hit a target with a 22 pistol, he can easily do the same thing with a 9mm pistol, which is much more bigger and does more damage. And I don't know what you're thinking. What the hell did he hit? Isn't it obvious he hit the goddamn rocket while it was still in the rocket launcher? Fuck. Imagine having Eric as a playable character in Call of Duty. With that type of accuracy? Oh, shit. Yeah, you'd be like, I don't need here you go, Eric, a sniper rifle. I don't need this. That's a 22 pistol. I know. Points it, shoots a guy over 200 yards away. Dead center in the eye. It's like, holy shit, you actually killed him with a 22? I'm that good. Okay. Don't fuck with Eric. Molo finds out the plan didn't go as well, so he actually wants up running away, amongst all things. The cops actually arrest Eric because they see he has a gun. But supposedly there's another deleted scene in the movie where Eric is actually bailed out, and it turns out he actually saved the peace rally. So they thought he was a conspirator. No, he was actually the man who saved the peace rally. So, because of that, he's now actually free, and he rejoins with Julia, her father, and Reese, and he's doing the final part of his training, actually being qualified for the running portion of the Pentathlon. And guess who shows up? Mueller. God! Relax, this is like basically the end of the movie, so we don't want to see this guy anymore. So Mueller actually walks down to the field, takes out his gun, points it at Eric, and he goes, "Come to the attic." Julia tries to tackle the guy, but he's stronger than her, so he throws her down. Eric tackles the guy and starts punching the shit out of him. He actually kicks the gun away from him and punches the shit out of him until security comes by to get him off. So Julia actually goes to Eric, and the gun is right by. And keep this in mind, Mueller's gun is right by Eric. So Mueller grabs security's gun and actually points it at Eric. Eric picks up the gun, picks up Mueller's gun, and shoots and kills him right there on the spot. Yeah. Kills him right there on the spot. This guy who had tortured the man for years is finally fucking dead. Thank you, God. Roll the credits. Oh. I know, I'm really not kidding. That's literally it. The movie ends right there on the spot. Now, there is a post-credit photo with Eric with the U.S. team, which means he makes it to the U.S. team, which is a good thing. And that's Pentathlon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this movie great? The answer is, nah, it's kind of a mixed feeling, but honestly, I think it's an okay film. There's a lot going on here. It's very ambitious for the time, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. That's sort of a like a sports comeback story, and mixed in with a neo-Nazi terrorist organization, and tossed into the movie for a subplot. It's kind of crazy. Honestly, I think it's an okay movie, and a lot of people online actually think the same thing too, saying this movie is kind of underrated, and it did come out during the mid-90s. So honestly, it's a pretty decent movie. I actually kind of recommend it. Speaking of which, something that's been kind of bothering me lately. Now, I think maybe Rex. I need to. I need to ask. I gotta do something. Hey, Ferox Rex, we need to talk real quick. Rex, Rex. Huh. Judo and boxing again. What? Frank, you kind of caught me in the middle of a bad time here. Oh hell! Oh, what do you need? Exactly. I didn't think I was going to do a cameo in this. Rex, I got a question. Can you make a pentathlon style video with Olympic Games? The game you're holding right there. Do you think you can make a pentathlon style video? You want me to do what? A pentathlon, as in the five events that actually made the modern day Olympics. Swimming, fencing, shooting, horseback riding, and running. Can you try doing a pentathlon style video? Okay. First off, where the hell did this come from exactly? A pentathlon in this game? I think there's only like I think there's only like two sporting events in here that cover that. Exactly. It's not even the full sports. I mean, it's just two running events and like two swimming events. I think maybe just mostly one swimming event, but still. I mean, how am I supposed to do a pentathlon with all this? Wait a minute. What the hell's the movie you're reviewing? Oh, the movie. It was pentathlon. That's what I was reviewing. So, what do you think? You're reviewing the Dolph Lundgren pentathlon film, and you want me to make a pentathlon style gaming video based on the film. You do know there's not many. You know there's only like maybe a couple of events on here that maybe match that description, right? I mean, what? I mean, Ferox Frank. I don't even know how that's supposed to work. Hey Rex, I have an idea that maybe that you can actually make this work somehow. Joe, why are you even here? And wait, what are you talking about? Okay, hear me out on this one, guys. All right, you're saying you want to do a pentathlon style video game review, right? Except the Sega game doesn't actually have all the events on it, which of course which is not really surprising. And there's no word of any other Olympic video game coming out anytime soon. So, Rex, here's an idea. Why don't you go through the list of sporting events that are actually on that and find out what you can use to replace the events? I mean, okay, yeah, there's running and swimming, which are part of pentathlon, but why don't you replace the other events with events with events in the game that you think may actually be good replacements? That actually might work. Why don't you do that? You know what? As soon as I'm done here, I'll go in and help you with so we can make the video. Hmm? Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. Try it out, Rex. Uh, you know what? Whatever. Fine. I'll do that. You know what? Yeah, sure. I need to borrow the PS4 real quick, and I gotta jot some notes down. Okay, so yeah, I'll see what I can do with that. All right. But anyway, Felix, go back to making your damn video. Okay. Hey, come on, Rex. Don't be like that. Look, I'll take you. Look, as a treat, I'll take you guys out to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. So, that being said and done, I'm going to help you out with the video. And Joe, thanks for the suggestion. Okay, thank you very much. Still gonna kick your ass for the freaking for my missing gloves though. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, sure, Frank. Whatever you want. Yeah. You ever go see Deadpool and Wolverine by any chance? No, never mind. I'll just see myself out. Freaking schmuck. Well, folks, that was the pentathlon video starring Dolph Lundgren, and we're going to try doing a Ferox pentathlon video soon for Ferox Gaming. Though I'm not too sure it's going to be an actual gaming video or something else. Who knows? Anyway, and hold on a second. Rex is like texting me real quick. And okay, I better get over there. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time on Ferox Rank Reviews. So y'all take care. I'll take care now.